That has to be the best that we've done. Right on the money, 30-second countdown in. Bam, we're on. Welcome, everybody, back to Pour Over Marketing. We're getting better at this. I've got it streaming now to a couple of different places. Southgate Media Group's Facebook page, our YouTube channel it's now streaming on, and on New Media Lab. So we are putting a little reach out there. We're going to try to grow this thing now. And I think that might be part of the topic for today. Now that I've settled in. Good morning, Sarah. Oh my gosh, I feel like it's been forever since I've talked to you. So many things. I love the new cover. I think it's really cool. So I'm excited for everything happening there. We are not going to have our guest today. We were supposed to have Michael Copeland, and I wrote him last night to confirm, and he was like, yeah, boy, 6 o'clock's pretty early. I said, wait a minute, you're in Chicago. It's 8 o'clock. He said, no, my daughter and I went to California. We're on a trip. Why are you getting up at 6 in the morning to come on here when we can do it next week or another time? No big deal. So today, no guest unless somebody pops in and wants to talk to me, and we can always add them to the studio. Otherwise, we're going to take questions and have kind of a casual, fun talk. So, yeah, truth, Sarah. Here, in fact, truth. Love that. So let's talk about a few different things. One is things that have been on my mind this week. For those of you that watch regularly, you know that I keep talking about this big project I'm working on. It's basically an overhaul of the catalog for the publisher I work with. And I've got somebody helping me with art and everything, which really helps having another person. I really need about 5 more people, but what can you do? But we're getting somewhere. I think my journey with this is actually important. I think it's important not only for me and for the company, but it's important for you guys to hear. So at first, we were doing a thing called One Sheets, which is basically an advertisement for your book. And we decided, you know what, we need to use these as part of our catalog because they look really good. The catalog is very complicated. The one that we had, you have to use an Adobe program. And what I discovered when I got into it was if I was updating something, so let's say, Sarah, you put out a second book coming out in November, we put out the catalog. If I want to plug that one in, it would have to be all the different things getting updated because of the way they scale. It's not like a website where I can say it's a cascading style sheet, and when I add things here, it pushes down. It would push down and would throw all the formatting off. Good morning, Bruce. So happy. Yeah, I'm not going to say it. No, I'm happy you're here, Bruce. So we figured out we could do this other thing where we use the One Sheets and we use basically like a landing page that's clickable to authors and genres and that. Just creating the One Sheets is a big process. There are multiple types of One Sheets that we have to create. And when we started this, I was like, you know me, I'm going to do this thing in a quarter of the time of anybody else. I'm John Henry. I've got my hammers. Here's an old man reference. And I did. Within a week, I think there were 280 that had to be done. I was at 210. And then I realized these aren't going to work the way they should. We have to improve these. And I was talking to the CEO about it, and she had a couple of really good, strong suggestions. Her first reaction was, these look great. And then she said, hey, could we add this? And I was like, yeah, we definitely need to add that. So we had to go back to the drawing board and redefine these One Sheets. Not a big deal. It is a big deal when you start talking. Good morning, Gordon. When you start talking about all the different sheets you have to create. So basically 280, double that because you've got 2 pages on each one. Now take the project we're doing, and what has happened is we kept getting 10, 20 done, and then we'd realize maybe we want to change something. See, because ultimately your catalog is going to be a marketing tool. It's something that we can email out. Woo, we know I love email. It's something you can put on your website, and even that is a project. I've been talking to our web guy and saying, okay, here's what we want to do. And it took us a few back and forths before he was like, I get what you're after. I get what you're trying to do. And he said, yeah, we could do this. And I was like, yeah, but now we gotta strip it all back and simplify it. How do we do it so we can get this as a usable tool now? And we can do the email thing because we need this reach out. We need this tool. And what's important here is you, marketer, you doing your thing. What are the tools that maybe you threw together and then went like, okay, well, you know what? I made a postcard and it went out and we're done. What are those tools that maybe you could reapproach? It could be living documents and that you might want to take a little extra time with. So with this, it's now been weeks. It was supposed to be, to me, it was going to be a 2-week project. We're now well over a month. I have visitors coming in, so I don't think I'm going to finish it quite as quickly as I thought this week, but we're getting close. There have been probably 3 revisions, 4 revisions, now that I'm thinking about it, where we had to go back and start again, where I was 210 out of the 280 in, once again, double that, because of the volume. I went back 4 times, I believe. Then this week, there was another piece of the puzzle that clicked in and I realized it. And rather than burn what we've done and say, you know what, we really need to do this from a marketing standpoint, it's going to be better, which this idea is, we also had to realize this document has to get out there. We have to get our catalog going. After it's done, we can go back and fix. It's not a big deal. It's not a crappy document. It's not a crappy piece of, marketing material. It's good. This will put it over the edge, I believe. And who knows, between now and then, we may think of 3 or 4 other things that we want to add. But what are the things that you use? What are the things that you use to market either brand you or your group or your business that you could maybe reapproach and say, you know what, I was really excited about this in the beginning. We used it. Maybe it didn't go very far, or maybe, yeah, it's out there, it's doing its thing. And you could go back and say, you know what, my website needs a little refresher. What are things I could do here? And don't be afraid to do it. Don't fall into the trap of, oh my God, it's this insurmountable thing. You already have the tool. Let the tool be. Make this something like more of like a little passion project to make a better tool for yourself. That's exactly what we're doing with this catalog. We are treating it with a lot of respect, trying to figure out what is the best way to do it. I think when we ultimately have it done, we're going to have a unique marketing tool for our publisher that I haven't seen from other publishers, or at least I haven't seen exactly the way we're doing it. Even if not, I don't care if we're unique. I care that we have something good that we can sell some stuff. That's what matters. So since good morning, Gordon. I don't think I said good morning. Since we don't have our guest today, Sarah heard this story already. I'm going to say it one more time. We had Michael set up, and last night I wrote to him and I said, all right, see you in the morning. And he said, yeah, 6:00's pretty early. I said, wait a minute, it's Chicago. You're in Chicago. It's 8:00. He said, yeah, I went on vacation with my daughter. We're in California. No, don't get up at 6. Don't disrupt. Your daughter's a teenager. Let her sleep. We'll do this another day. We'll have a guest another day. This show isn't just about guests, obviously. It's about me rambling and drinking coffee and answering your questions. So there we go. Now I've put the ball in your court. What kind of questions do you guys have? Good morning, Serena. So as long as we're doing that, it's going to be a busy week. We've got our family coming in from Ohio, and they're going to be staying with us for most of the week. So add that on top of it. But like any smart entrepreneur, you have to go into even something like that with a plan and say, well, I can't pause what we're doing. I can't pause this catalog. I can't pause our social media. I can't pause Southgate Media Group stuff. I can't pause Writers Row, which is another project we have, which clock is ticking. We got to get that thing ready for Indiana PopCon, Indy PopCon. We made a plan. Maeve and I sat down and said, okay, what is our week? We're definitely going to be doing a lot of stuff with them over the week and taking time off. It just means maybe I get up earlier. There's the 5 a.m. club. You guys heard about that? The 5 a.m. club. Guess who? Hey, Chelsea. Yes, Indy's going to be awesome. The 5 a.m. club is a thing where people, especially entrepreneurs, are getting up at 5 o'clock to get as much done as they can before their workday starts. I'm not a member of the 5 a.m. club on purpose. In fact, with the time change, I've kind of become the 6 a.m. club, but for a long time, I've been getting up at 5. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I either watch Bar Rescue and drink some coffee and then get to work. And that's not entirely true. When I watch Bar Rescue, I'm also working. I pay attention to what they're saying, and I also take not only notes, but I usually am sitting there like, oh yeah, do this. Yeah, do that. Yeah. Or if you're Bruce, you're doing this at that time. Oh, you're going to Ohio for the eclipse. Cool. Where in Ohio are you going? We all want to know. That's so cool. Doesn't say. Serena will tell me. Yeah, even though I'm part of the 5 a.m. club, I don't want a podcast at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. Just south of Dayton. Very cool. There's a for people that know me, it's probably funny. For those of you that aren't like haven't known me forever, it's probably not that funny. You probably don't notice it, but there is a podcast on the Nuff Said stream from our very first season. So going back 11 years ago, where Jack and I tried a thing. So what we would do is we would watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and we would try to get it out as fast as we could, our commentary about it. We ended up settling into a pretty good groove with it. But in the beginning, it was like, man, it's kind of late because we were in different time zones and I can't always watch it or he can't always watch it right when it airs. So we decided we had this idea we were going to record early the next morning so that this hit your thing. It's edited and boom, by 7 in the morning. This audio is so hilarious. I am incoherent. I can do work on my computer and that, but try to get me talking, and it's like I sound dopey and drunk. Like I don't usually. I swear to God, I'm not a drinker except coffee, but I sound dopey and drunk all the time. Serena, my mom's house. Yes. Oh, that's so cool. So she is on the path to totality. Why don't you give the address? Everybody's showing up. Don't give the address. No one wants to be around me when I'm writing at 5 a.m. I'm a troll. I can't, like, I can write okay at 5 a.m., 6, I'm better. But boy, try to talk. Oh, it's bad news. And it's funny, I get people that complain that we're doing this too early. And it's like, you know what? 8 o'clock in Chicago is not too early. It's 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 a nice morning thing where we can talk and share some ideas and have a little fun. If it was a nighttime show, I might be a little bit more teachery, a little more prepared. Speaking of which, I don't want to start it this week, but I'm planning on in 2 weeks on Thursday. Let's get a date. Let's get a date. On April 4th, my plan right now is to launch the companion to this, which is happy hour marketing. And we will do something later in the day because I do have a lot of people in other time zones, other countries that have asked me about this and said they really want to be here. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we'll keep doing our Saturday morning thing, but maybe we'll add like every other week to a Thursday. We did one of those and we had a pretty good crowd. That one I would call a crowd. Here it's like a little gathering of right now there's 7 of us here. And that Thursday night though, we had like 20 people show up. So I think we're going to add that. Look for information on that. It should be April 4th. Okay, back to these comments. Oh, I know you, Rob. Yes, Bruce, you know me. I usually need to, Gordon. I usually need to build a head of steam by 8:30, 9. I get started writing, working, whatever. Yeah, man. You know what, Gordon? That was totally me. Uh, it was a couple of years ago. Um, it was actually, yeah, I want to say it was during COVID that it happened. That I was finding that I was just like waking up earlier and earlier, and then we had a time change, and that time change messed me up, and it made it so like 5 o'clock was my time. And I'm going, oh God. So no more staying up late at night. And when I do, I still wake up at 5. Um, Now I've got it down to a little bit more reasonable. It's about 6 o'clock, but I get right to work. I get right on it. Um, I didn't say it's good work. It's kind of like you got to knock out the cobwebs for a while. Half day is gone at 8 a.m. Yeah, yeah, man, it is. I was talking to Erica, the CEO of Four Horsemen, and I said she asked if we could have a phone call on Monday if we could do a meeting. She goes, it's going to have to be early. She goes, like 8 o'clock your time. I said, I've been working for 3 hours already. I'm halfway through my day. Let's do it. Um, so yeah. So anyway, questions. Or am I going to keep rambling? Because I've got a lot more to talk about. Okay. I'm going to talk about a couple other things. 5 a.m. Same. Yeah. It just happens. I don't think it's the kids either. Although maybe it is. Maybe it's like that's my time where I know they're gonna sleep a little bit longer, so I get a little bit of quiet. Maybe. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. Molly sleeps in. Molly turns 17 this week. That officially makes me old. Uh, which I mean, if you look at my driver's license on my birth date, you'd say I'm old too. I guess that officially makes me old. But yeah, I have a 17-year-old daughter. We went to see, actually, this ties into something I wanted to talk about, because this is really important. Once again, I know most of you are entrepreneurs. You're trying to do your thing. Um, Even if you're not, even if you're trying to be a linchpin at work, or uh, you just like kind of the marketing thing and you're interested in it, and you're like, how do I apply it? The greatest thing you can do as a student, the highest level of learning to a teacher, is seeing somebody try to implement it in their real life. Okay. Taking the ideas and seeing, how do I adapt it? If it's a here's a point and here's a point and here's how you do it, and you go, yeah, I did it. Great. Did you learn anything? It's like when I coach, I don't usually give the 2 points. I talk to them about the 2 points until they find the path. And then, boom, when they're doing it, oh, it's so satisfying. And they typically have a lot better success, right? So here's one where I'm not going to give 2 points. I might, but I'm not going to give anything specific to you. You have to try to see, how does this apply to what I do? How does this apply to my marketing or what I'm trying to do? You know what? Even in life, okay? Because we are in life marketing brand us as well. So the other night for Molly's birthday, uh, we called it that. Her birthday was the day before, and technically we would have done this no matter what it was. But we said, it's for your, ooh, excuse me, it's for your 17th birthday. Coffee, woo! Uh, I feel like Bruce. Um, there we go. Hair of the dog. So we went to see Sleater-Kinney, the band. Sleater-Kinney. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. Uh, Turned out, well, we'll get to that point. First of all, uh, it was an amazing, amazing show. I am Molly's concert buddy because her friends like some of the music she likes. She has a wide cut of music that she's into, and she really is deeply into these things. And the good news is, with Maeve and I, we listen to new music, old music. We're not like, oh yeah, we're stuck in the 80s. Not by any stretch. Um, we listen to all sorts of stuff. And Sleater-Kinney, who, it's funny, a lot of people think is newer. This was their 30th anniversary the other night. So technically they're old man music. Old women music because it's two women. Uh anyway, Molly's into that. We go to see new bands. We go to see all sorts of stuff. But we went to see Sleater Kinney. And first of all, amazing show. Second of all, I was paying attention, as I do, to the marketing. And marketing in this case is not how they reached out, because I didn't really see anything about it. Molly saw it. They were going to be at the Riv. She ordered the tickets and said, "We're going to call this my birthday." And great, cool. So she and I were going to go to it. Maeve doesn't like the crowds, doesn't like to go to those things. So anyway, I mean, she loves concerts and music, but standing in with all those people, saw a meme that called us polyamorous. What, Sleater Kinney? Because yeah. So anyway, uh, from a marketing standpoint, there was so much going on. There was so much visually and, obviously auditory, but like one thing that I was noticing is when you're a now they're an indie band and they've been around for 30 years. They do have a level of success, even though you might not know them. Polyamorous, liking multiple styles of music. Yes, I am totally polyamorous. Uh, yeah, we could sit and talk about jazz for a while and all the different aspects of and we could talk about punk and folk, and I got so many things I could talk. We're not talking music on here. We'll get Jesse on here someday. I'm going to have Jesse Jackson be a guest. That's going to be a trick because he's going to have to get up early. But we'll talk music and marketing. He's been doing his podcast forever. And he's just a wonderful guy, and he's getting some really nice success out of it. So we'll have him on. That's fun. That's fun. He's polyamorous too. So anyway, what I was noticing, what I was thinking about when I was watching it is they were not, well, like this. Power suggestion is very powerful. Yes. Uh, yeah. You know what? I'm kind of sitting in that for a second. I like that. So anyway, they're a band. They've been around for 30 years. They're known as being, one of these better, like maybe the best of the what do they call it? Riot Girl bands. They get lumped in with that. Kind of the female grunge scene, which totally. Uh, so things I noticed. One was uh they the visuals up there. Now, they did a lot with their stage. So I saw the Rolling Stones. They are a show. They're spending a ton on pyrotechnics and blow up things and all this. Then you go to some of these, like if you go see a metal band, sometimes they'll have like things and all this and all these lights. And there's a big expense in doing that kind of thing. But there's also a way you can do it and have an incredible visceral experience, but not spend so much, not break your bank, because the goal is to walk away profitable from these things. They're a band, they're creating artwork. They absolutely are. But they need to make money. They need to pay the people that are up there, and they need to walk away with some funds so that they can keep doing this, right? So what I noticed watching them was this is their 30th anniversary show, which this is another side note. We didn't know. They didn't market that at all, which is weird, but kind of tracks for them, right? They didn't market that at all. The show we were at was the 30th anniversary show. They had these column lights at the back, and they had this set that was 3 arches with white lights behind what is essentially like a white sheet. It created this really interesting visual. The cost of their set could not be very high. okay, for something that they're traveling with, or maybe they're not. Maybe they're only traveling with the columns of lights. I don't know. But the cost of this stage show could not have been very high. They had some pot lights up in front that would go pop like that. That was really cool. They had a light that was one of those that like kind of fans out. It looks like that. That was behind each of the lead women that they only used very sparingly, and that was part of the point I was going to make. They had these few things. I would say they used them relatively sparingly to great effect. So rather than having, $1 million set, they had these two lights, they had three pop lights, they had these columns, and they had this thing. And they used it in a way that integrated into the music. And what they did with themselves, and this is you, this is where I'm watching them thinking they understand brand you, okay? Carrie Brownstein, she's on the show Portlandia. She's one of the two women. She would go up. They were dressed a certain way. They dress in their inner rock star without being like ridiculous. They look like you want to watch them, right? They didn't just show up in a t-shirt. Although, Nirvana shows up in a t-shirt, you want to watch them. She would do things like she would dance around while she was playing. The other one is singing and pushing it way out. So the other one, and I can't think of her name, but she had this like silver dress. So it was visually like whenever she'd sing, your eyes were right on her and you saw this dress interacting with the light. Carrie was kind of moving around, kind of like if you've ever seen Stop Making Sense, the way the band kind of moves. It's got this like energy to it. And then she would do things like she'd come to the center, and when the lights would cut and the white sheets, they had a red light too that would shine through. When that would happen, she'd go back and she'd hold up her guitar like this, and then she'd go back. But it created this visual memory that was so cool. And from a marketing standpoint, I'm watching it going right there. All these moments are social media fodder, right? These are all things that I'm going to want to look at, that I'm going to want to share. They were very conscious of their visual show. Yet at the same time, they didn't pay $1 million for this. They didn't have to. So when we do our Writers Row, which I mentioned earlier that Chelsea is going to be with us at, we did some simple things to differentiate ourselves. We have these racks in the middle that we cover up with black fabric, and we have TVs at each corner. Nobody else has that. It looks really cool, right? Everything is very streamlined. It's very stripped down. We did not spend a lot of money on things, but when you look at our table, when you look at what we've got going on, other than a little signage issue that we figured out, we look like rock stars in the middle of this convention. When you look at the other people there, it does not look like what we're doing. It does not create that. We did not create as many moments that were photogenic and all that because this was a beta and we're like, but going forward, we are going to be very conscious of that. When you watch one of my panels, I do a lot of physicality. I do a lot of interacting with the audience so that at the end of the day, people will take pictures and post stuff, my stuff looks different than the other panels where everyone's sitting there talking, right? Mine looks like, oh, he's doing something. I want to see that. I am conscious of that. I wear certain clothes. I physically move certain ways. Our booth has a visual palette to it that we're trying to create. Going back to the beginning of the conversation, did we get it right from the beginning? No, it evolves, but we're always paying attention to it. Maeve and Erica and I, Molly and I, we're always talking about these little things. We don't want to spend money and have it not make profit because we got to make profit at this. But what can we do to increase profit by making it more professional, cooler for the audience, a better experience, and building brand us, right? Without spending a lot of money. What you're spending is brain power. that's what we're doing. Okay, that was a big thing. Sarah, one of my oldest friends, taught me a lot about marketing when I was 18 and onward. She's a solo musician, did a lot of different unique marketing things during this career, including sending flowers with cordial invites. I thought cordials. Oh, they sent candies. To shows for people in the industry and stuff. She's the reason I collect postcards now. Aha. And you remember those things she did. Now, there is an expense to what she was doing, sending those cordial invites. But you know what? If you have a master list of people you're trying to woo, maybe it's worth it. I remember a friend of mine, I have a friend who's a rock musician. I'd say rock star. I'm hesitating on what to call him. He's not really a rock star, but he's a rock musician. He's really fantastic. And we were talking about marketing back then. He had a band that he was trying to get in more places, and I was trying to help him a little bit. And he told me about this band that he said they were trying to be very creative with their marketing. So to the reviewers out there, they sent a package that had razor blades in it. And it said something like, you'll be dying to see our show or something. And I was like, holy crap, is that a bad move? And he said, oh my God, it pretty much ended their career. Because, yeah, you think it might be clever? Not clever. That's a problem. There was a band that sent dead rats because they thought that was like, yeah, we're tough. We're this great band. We're going to send a dead rat with an invite to our show. Guess what? I get a dead rat in the mail. I am not coming to your show. That's not how it works. Now, you can do interesting things like not like a dead rat, but you can do interesting things to gain attention. No, those are not pleasant memories. I just gotta. This is a response to that story. Oh my Jesus, those are not pleasant memories, and yikes, nope. I know, horrible, right? Horrible. Those are missteps in brand you. I don't know if you can go back. You make a big swing like that makes no sense. You are not coming back from that type of marketing mistake. That's a rough one. But they are trying to think outside of the box. They are trying to think of things they could do to get attention. But here's another way to look at it. So when I first got into acting, I got my first agent. You go in and you get signed not as an exclusive actor. It's a little different now. Now they pretty much won't take you unless they're signing you exclusive. But back then, you would try to get the agent's attention so that they would take you on and maybe send you out on some calls. And then if you were booking a lot, they would ask you to be exclusive, which was a big deal. So I was, I don't know, 18, 19, something like that. And I went down to one of these open calls and they took me in. And my other actor friends were like, well, how did you do it? How did you do it? Oh my God. I'm trying all these different things and they're not taking me. And I went, I don't know. They had an open call. I went to it. I was prepared. I don't know, luck of the draw. They might not have taken me. But I think the X factor was I thought about it beforehand. As Bruce said, the power of suggestion is really powerful. I went in with that power going, of course they're going to take me on this, but I'm not expecting to get made exclusive. So then I ended up booking a couple of commercials in the first 30 days, which was crazy. Basically the way it works is when I say that it wasn't the first 30 days of me doing this, it was pretty close to it, but you book a SAG job and you were forced to join the union. Okay. Which costs a lot of money. You can do for 30 days, you can do as many SAG jobs as you can get without having to join the union. Now, okay, that sounds like a great theory, but most people get one and then they might not get another one for 5 years. They might not ever get another one. So you're like, do I join the union? Do I not? I ended up getting a couple of commercials in that first 30 days and I was forced to join the union because I got one like immediately after too. So I got like 2 here, and then I got one at like 35 days. I'm like, well, I'm in the union. Now here's the story. So I wrote to the woman who ran it, the CEO of the company, of the agency, and I introduced myself. I said I would love to have a chance to sit down with you so that you can meet me. I would love to meet you. This way you can meet me because, hey, I'm booking some things out of your agency, and I think it would be cool for us to meet. Now, this is like, 18-year-old me. So I think it'd be cool if the two of us met. So she did. She said you can have a 10-minute meeting, which I was thrilled about. I got in there and, oh, wait, before this, I'm telling my friends and they're going, wait a minute, how did you get a meeting with her? Oh my God. And I said, I asked. That's all I did. I used business communication skills. I wrote a letter that everything was spelled correctly. I wasn't trying to be funny or anything. I wasn't trying to get noticed. It was a professional letter that I had somebody else look at to make sure it was written okay. And I sent that and just said, hey, I would love that. And it was humble. I would love, since I'm going to be around here, I'm booking some things. I'd love for you to meet me. I went in, sat down with her, told her right up front, I said, I want to say something up front. She's like, okay. And she was a pretty powerful agent out there. I said, I'm not here to ask to be exclusive. I know you get that all the time. I said, truthfully, I just wanted to meet you and I wanted you to meet me. I said, what I said in my letter to you is true. I said, my picture is going to be up on your wall because I just booked a couple of things. I just want you to be aware if we see each other in the hallway that I don't have to feel awkward. Like, oh my God, that's her. I can say hi and you can say hi and you'll know who I am and I know who you are. She was like, oh, and I said, but I'm not asking to be exclusive. That's not what this is about. We ended up having this lovely little conversation. It was about 10 minutes. At the end of it, she said, okay, well, whether it was your plan or not, there's paperwork waiting for you outside. I want you to sign exclusive. Okay. Big turning point as an actor. That's a huge, huge thing. Especially at that time. That was crazy. So now I'm telling my friends, and I swear to God, the stuff I'm getting from my friends, and this goes back to you guys. I did it by being professional, making her aware of who I was, being me, right? My friends are telling me things like I knew one guy, he said, well, every Friday I send a pizza to the agency so they can have lunch on me. And someday I'm hoping that, they get familiar with my name enough that they hire me to be exclusive. How much have you spent? And has that done anything? I knew there was a girl who I ended up doing commercials with. They kept pairing us as if she was my wife. It was really funny. She was really short. I'm tall. And like we were a funny looking pair together. And we kept kind of getting things together. The very first commercial I ever got, she was playing my wife in. And she told me that she would lay in front of the door and sleep there. She'd get to their office at like 5 a.m. and sleep there so that the agents, when they got there, they had to like, oh, excuse me, they had to step over her or whatever to get in. This is how she was trying to get noticed. Okay, so you think that was a smart move? Do you think that actually was going to get her exclusivity? I don't think so. You know what did get her exclusivity was she was good. She did a bunch of things. She made them aware when she was doing stuff. She stopped playing that game, and all of a sudden, her brand became better. Now, this also goes back to Sleater-Kinney. What they did was they knew who they were. They tapped into their inner rock star. I've seen Carrie Brownstein speak. I've seen her on the show. She's fantastic. She is a regular person. She is really cool. But if you were to ask her, she'd be like, I'm a dork, right? But when she's on stage, she knows she has to be Carrie Brownstein from Sleater-Kinney. So she does poses as she's doing things. She dances and moves like she's supposed to. She gets into the music. And then she thanks the audience a lot. Wow, you guys are amazing. We're feeling so much love up here. God, we love coming to Chicago. Thank you guys for being fans. connection. Oh my God. Oh my God. There were multiple times I felt like the two women on stage looked me right in the eye. Were they? No, you can't see from up there. But boy, I felt that connection. And it was because they are aware. They are aware you need to make it personal. You need to have the connection. You need to be humble. And you need to be what the people want, which is a rock star. What are you in your daily life? What are you doing as an entrepreneur? Where can you be an inner rock star? If you're a writer and you're going to conventions and you sit behind your table and you go like this, is that the inner rock star that people want to meet? No. No. If you are uh, somebody who puts conventions together and then you hide in the back, is that who they want you to be? No. I have a funny story because when I'm in those situations, I know, okay, I'm a panelist, I'm a guest here. I have to be this. I'm not putting a show on. I'm not one of those on guys. I just exude something. So we're at Wizard World a few years ago, and David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson weren't going to be there. This was the only time I've now in 12 years, I think, that I've paid to go to a convention. We paid for this because I wanted to give Maeve the opportunity to meet them and to get signatures. And I probably could have worked something to meet them, but no, we paid. And when we were waiting in line for our autograph thing, it was a big disaster. Oh my God. Somebody wasn't doing their job. They were overwhelmed. They didn't know what they were doing. And I've been to a million of these. So I walked over to a couple of the staff people and I said, hey, I know you don't know me. I held up my thing. I'm like, I'm Southgate Media Group. I said, you've got a problem out here that you might not be aware of, and it's going to break really bad. Here's a couple suggestions. It worked. Okay. It did help. All of a sudden, this confidence, this me, I have people that are just guests there, not hearing this exchange, but there was something in the way I'm holding myself, something in the way I'm branding myself. They're coming up and they're saying, is this your convention? Can you help me with? And I'd go, no, I'm just a guest here, just like you. It happens so many times. Molly and Maeve were cracking up. They're like, they think you own this place. I'm like, it's all because I know that at a convention, I am supposed to be this person. And I'm supposed to be part of the team as well. When I was helping them, I wasn't helping them for me. I was helping them because I saw a problem. I had a solution. And I wasn't like, do this or you're dead. I went up and said, hey, I see a problem. This might work. And they went, oh. And I said, I'm doing it for selfish reasons. I want to get through the line. But in reality, I was doing it because I'm part of their team. And brand me made everybody think that I was in charge, even though they didn't hear that exchange. It was just how I held myself, how I dressed, how I was in there. Where do you do that in your job? Where do you do that in your life? Have you ever walked through a Target and had people walk up to you and say, hey, are you from corporate or something? I have a question. And I go, this happens to me. And I go, no, I'm trying to buy socks. I don't work for Target. It happens to me regularly, but it's because it happens after I've done something where I'm exuding that, where you're showing that kind of power. Can you do that in your life? Not that you're in charge, just that you're confident and that brand you is coming through. Okay, that was a lot of dumb shit. Let's see here. Bruce wrote, working for Coca-Cola Company for over 25 years. Yes, I'm dating myself. I've heard that about you, Bruce. Marketing was always preached as being continuously innovative and engaging the customers' needs was very important to that business. Bruce, you are so right. In fact, when I was in my first MBA class, not to bore you guys with my MBA stories, but the guy who ran it was the former president of the AMA, the American Marketers Association, not Medical Association. And one of his favorite things to talk about was Coca-Cola and their marketing. And it's very true. They have it infused within the whole organization. Gore-Tex is another one that's amazing when you get down to how they run their business and how they look at marketing. Apple obviously gets it. I don't know if they get it as much now as they used to, but boy, they get it. Marketing. And marketing is not just sending out flyers. It is branding. It is how you hold yourself. When you see a Coke driver, they hold themselves a certain way. in what they're doing. It's not like when we had our I'm going to throw Sears under the bus. We had our dryer. We had a problem with the dryer. They came in, they installed it, and the guy did a bad job. And I called up and said, hey, they got to come back out. And I said, look, the guy that came out he didn't know what he was doing. He was borrowing tools from me and he put it in wrong. And they said, oh, we promise that won't happen. I said, I don't want that guy coming back in here. I said, I want a Sears employee, not a subcontractor. And they said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And what did they do? They sent the same damn guy out here and he screwed it up a second time. Were they concerned about brand Sears? No, they were just running a business. They were just taking care of it. Was bad. That was at the end of Sears. Look at where Sears is now. Are they even in business? And if they are, would you call them? Always look for opportunities. As a mentor of mine years ago told me, oh, 4 eyes are better than 2. Yeah, actually, Bruce, that's correct. In fact, that goes back to something that we talked about before, which was when we had our business, Maeve and I would always say, we need somebody to walk in that's not us, somebody that can see it from the outside. Because when it's your business, when you're in the center of it, you don't see everything, no matter how hard you try. When we're standing in writer's row, we see, the machinations, we see the marketing, we see this, but then I guarantee you there's either somebody in the booth that's not one of them that makes those decisions, or there's a patron that walks up that sees something else that could say, hey, you know what, you're not doing this, or this is really great, do more of this. 4 eyes better than 2. 8 eyes better than 4. Okay, Chelsea, you're articulating your question. Let's have it. You have multiple social medias that you run. As far as keeping up with all of them, how do you make sure none of them are left behind? All right, let's talk about it. First of all, on a higher level, okay, no, let's cut that back. Scratch that. We'll cut that out of this recording. It's so professional. Not at all. I'm a unique animal because you said you have multiple social medias that you run. I have multiples for multiple IPs. In fact, when we made everybody free agents, at that time, I had 67 different accounts across each of the platforms that I was trying to run. Impossible. It was hot garbage. Now I'm trying to run only a couple, and it's still difficult because of the amount of time I can spend on them. Okay. Now, me, just like you, entrepreneur, pour over coffee. I'm going to try to actually be marketing this and doing some things with multiple social media platforms. So here's how you do it. First of all, it takes a little bit of work in the beginning. Figure out, first of all, where your audience is and where you want to put your efforts. Now, that doesn't mean get rid of the other things. There are fans at each of these different outlets. So you want to be wherever you can be. But let's say that most of your engagement happens on Instagram. Okay. So now you know that's where they are. So you want to tailor your mind to what you're doing at Instagram and then share it outward to the other things. Okay. So first thing to do is figure out where your audience is and where you're going to put your efforts. Figure out the path, the easiest path to put it to the different platforms. If it's literally just, I'm going to copy and paste and throw it on Twitter, I'm doing it on Instagram, so I use the Meta Suite from Facebook, and it shares to both Facebook and Instagram, but I've really optimized it for Instagram. That's really where my juice is. Then I'm also going to copy and paste, put it on Twitter, copy and paste, put it on LinkedIn, copy and paste, put it on Threads or Blue Sky. Okay. So you actually have to map it out. Have a bit of a plan. If all those seem like too much, either prune it a little bit, okay, and say, yeah, I'm not on Blue Sky. I'm not going to do Blue Sky. Or I hate Twitter. I'm not doing Twitter. Okay. I still take umbrage with that. I still have a problem with that because there is audience at each of these. The more places you can be, the more they're going to see you. But it doesn't mean you have to put a lot of effort into them. So you could get a thing like Hero Post, which is okay. I thought it was going to be really good, and then people I know that are using it, it's like, it's not as great. You could pay for HubSpot. Now, if you're in all those places and you are active, pay for a HubSpot subscription. And HubSpot, you can put your stuff in and have it share out, and you can schedule, and it could go to all the platforms. Okay? So now you know that I make X post. I go to HubSpot, I put the post in, and then I say, share it here, share it here, share it here, share it here. And you can also then go back to it and say, you know what? Instagram can't have links. You can click on your Instagram one, take the link out. So you can optimize it for the different platforms if you want to. But if you're like, that's even too much, it's fine. Make your one post and figure out how I can send them all out. Now, if you say, I don't want to spend the money on HubSpot, you are going to have to do it manually. So have a roadmap. I do. Oh, I wish I had one to show you. I actually do it that way a lot myself. And I used to have a thing up, and I don't see it now, where I had the roadmap. I go to MetaSuite, Instagram, Facebook, then I go to Twitter, then I go to LinkedIn, then I go to Twitter. And then if it's stuff that I want to put in the other places, I put that. But that was my roadmap, and it takes me a minute to get that post out there. Second part of it, how do you make sure none of them are left behind? Well, that's how. You have a little roadmap that you put by your computer, and you get used to it. 30 days of doing that, it becomes a habit, and you're not going to leave things behind. You're going to remember to do each of those steps, okay? The other thing is to create a calendar, a content calendar. And in the beginning, you're going to get excited to want to make something that's every day. Let's start by getting 2 posts a week, okay? Figure out what your goal is. All right. So if your goal is to get people to follow your newsletter, then tailor it so that it's either the primary focus of it or it's in what you're doing. Do not make everything about that, though, because I'll give you an example. I know somebody that's got her social media going, and she wants the books to sell. So she's like, we should be putting every post should have something about my books, how to buy my books. Guess what? Boring. They're not following you for that. They want you. So make that one of the things. Make a little roadmap and say, okay, every week, one of my posts is promoting my books. Now, how do I creatively do that? And you make yourself a content calendar. But at the top of it, I always write what my goal is: newsletter, more followers, buy my stuff, whatever it is. Brand awareness. Okay. So when you have a new book coming out, awareness of my pre-order, awareness of my arc. That becomes your priority. Doesn't mean you're going to do it every time because you'll bore people, but it means this is my focus this month. So if you have a roadmap and you have 2 each week, okay, now you're talking what? 8 posts, 10 posts if it's a 5-week month. But you have them all mapped out. You have your map of where they're going to go. With HubSpot, you can pre-schedule everything. Meta, you can as well. So you could technically do it all, get it all mapped out. And now the only thing you have to worry about is check in on your Twitter, check in on your Facebook, and see if anybody's responding. Because if they are, respond. Always have the last word. Not in a mean way. But if somebody responds, respond to them. Okay? I hope I answered that well. Simple is best. I learned that from Mark. He speaks in fragments, but people are way more responsive instead of my usual email. Time is so valuable to people. A request or notice that can be delivered in like 20 words legit works. 100%. 100%. Concise, clear. That's what people respond to. If you can show value, in 20 words, get your point across in 20 words. They talk about the elevator pitch a lot, and I've seen people like crafting their elevator pitches. It's like, yeah, there's something to that. It's a good jumping off point, but really, how do you get the idea in their head in 20 words? What you're really after, and what your value is. If you can show value that solves a problem for them, that's when you're going to have a winner. You don't have to worry about the structure of an elevator pitch. 30 seconds. That's 20 words isn't 30 seconds. Okay. Bruce, you get by on your good looks. That is very true. Very true. Bruce is a fine-looking man. Yes. Okay. Enough with Bruce. Cheeto, they usually think I'm a stalker at Target. You know what? Maybe I'll help you with that. Coca-Cola changed the way we picture Santa Claus. Amazing marketing and power. 100%. The red in Santa's clothing is Coca-Cola red. That is a branded color because Coca-Cola made Santa Claus. And why did they make Santa Claus? To sell Coke. I was talking to my friend about marketing. She's doing concept art for my necromancers for my pitch. She wants to get back into art, so she's coming with me to a con to help and also promote herself for cover designing. I was telling her she needs to start branding herself. People notice that energy. They do. And if she wanted to talk about that, I do offer coaching and consulting. As you know, Sarah, send her my way. Have her do a free consultation. We could at least just talk about how, ideas for branding herself. Doesn't mean she has to hire me. Means we could figure out if this is something that she could do or that she might need, the extra eyes on. And that's it for those comments. Okay, I can close that. So, okay. Tap into your inner rock star. I guess that's the bottom line on that. And that doesn't mean dress like a rock star or anything, but figure out in your bubble where you're trying to promote your thing. What is it that is going to, number one, immediately tell people you are what you are? How many times you've been in like a record store and you've seen somebody dressed that way and you go, yeah, they're clearly a musician. Oh, there's a science teacher. Ah, that's a marketing dude. Uh, you don't have to wear the uniform. Okay. But figure out what is it that says this about me somehow. All right. Uh, that's branding yourself. That is also something that gets used in marketing. I help somebody with they do a thing where they have a certain item of clothing that they wear all the time when they do live things, and that works. That's good branding. People recognize it and comment on it. And I said, but then I'm looking at your social media and I don't see it anywhere. And she says, well, it's on me. And I said, no, you need to go one step further. And I had her create a little logo of that. And I said, use that. Put that in the corner like that. Put it in the corner. Now people know, oh, it's branded. Okay. They might ask what it is. And it does, when you look at what she's doing and you look at that logo, you do start to understand, oh, she's creative. I don't know what she does, but she's creative. It makes her messaging a little easier. She's tapping into her inner rock star. I like Rob's uniform. Yes, the quick put something on so it doesn't look like you slept in it. That's my uniform at these shows. So I'm glad you like it, Bruce. Author outfit of the day pose. I like that. That's cool. And that's something that we've seen a lot when people start talking. Chelsea, when you were talking about how do you manage all that, one of the things you do is you don't have to always go back to how do I market this in a way like I'm doing all these posts and all these things. Oh my God, I got to think of something new all the time. Come up with something simple. Author outfit of the day, outfit Friday. And then, every Friday you're going to throw a picture up of a different outfit or something. And you're like, and it doesn't even have to scream author. It could just be you. You went to the thrift store and, you went and you got a pop vinyl and you went and took pictures of it in different places. For me, I was doing a thing for a while where every time I went to a coffee shop, I'd take a picture of me holding the coffee. And then I would hashtag it Coffee Palooza and coffee shop and that. And you know what? It was getting traction. Why do you think this says pour over coffee on it or pour over marketing? because it's got traction. People started to associate me with coffee. All that stuff was us doing live shows in a coffee shop. Is my show about coffee? No. That's why it's pour over marketing, but it does allude to it. It does go back to that. Okay, I think we've rambled on about this. I'm going to try to get Michael on next week. I'm not sure. Uh, I didn't even do my things about signing up for the newsletter. This was really informal. Let's see. Yes, Bruce, have a great weekend. He says that to everybody. So, yes. One last thing here before we go. Pierre wrote, it can be hard to write for yourself and others when requested. Yeah, it can. It can. That's why, you know what? You get people on your team. You get friends, people you can share stuff with and show. That's how you do it. Have a great weekend, Chinto, Sarah. Thank you for thank you. Have a great day, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We will be back next week. I am still trying to figure out how to grow this because I think we're having a fun time. If you have topics or questions you want to send in, write to me. Okay. Send them to rob at smgpods.com. You can write them in the thread here. Go to New Media Lab and write me. A lot of you know me on Facebook. Write me there. Send me a messenger. Heck, a lot of you have my phone number. So text me. That's better. I never answer my phone. Too busy. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you next weekend, and keep an eye out for the happy hour post because we will be doing that soon. Thanks, everybody.